Well, annoyingly, my phone is crapped the bed apparently, and I don't know why the camera plugin is not working, so I guess we're doing Enigma till my phone restarts. Which is fine, we can go over the combo that I want to get working. I'm curious, 3 visits, how much we can sort of cheese that, right? Because basically, it's 3 times instead of 2 times if you compare it to, say, Final Act. But 3 costs, plus then 1 to swing. So 4 costs makes it 4 times the cost of Final Act for 1.5 times the damage. The nice thing being, though, with 2 of them, you can use something like Crown of Reflection to get the other one out. And then it's just 6 cost, right? Uphold Tradition for the token, so it has to go again. Crown of Reflection gets the second one out, 3 for 1, and then 2 swings. So from your one hand, you can do everything, right? 2, 3 visits and 2 blues would be enough to play everything and swing. Question is then, how do you feed your hand and stack up the blue pitch to then enable the 3 visits? The nice thing is, as long as you go plus, you can go minus. Or if you stay neutral, then you can just pitch stack. So for instance, if we just had a ton of silver, that would still work, because we're just playing 3 visits as soon as we find them. And we're playing Uphold Tradition, Crown of Reflection to chain them together. Let's see if this is working now. But the issue being, if we take Crown of Reflection, we can't take Crown of Dominion, so cash in can't be a plus. We take Mage Master, we can get a plus by floating resources, and then using Mage Master in tone. So there's something to it, but I don't know how much damage we can end up pushing. Please work. Thank God. Weird. Ah, we can do the box. As planned. Okay, so box of Uprising to start. I'm heavily invested in Zen, so I would very much like a Tiger Stripe Shugo. And I looked at the price and I was like, Rainbow Foil's $110 here in Australia. I got some boxes left, we'll try and luck it. Alright, that'll do. Yes, good, working. Onto the case. I wasn't planning on opening any of the Uprising, right? Because the dragons are, done for. And I don't think the expansion slot was a nod that Draconic is coming back sooner than we think, in all honesty. I think that was an oversight, right? They didn't expect Romite to OL. And that card was already planned. At least that's my personal opinion. It being a lore card also doesn't work. It doesn't have any of the lore text. In fact, we have not seen a single lore card since Bright Light, since the concept was introduced, nor a reprint for reference. Also, stupidly open this upside down, apparently. It is Uprising, yes? Yes. Good. On that, is there any... I don't even remember the top cards aside from the dragons, and I assume all the dragons are coming down as well. Uprising. I assume with Fae and Mystics coming out that the Tiger Stripe is the top card now of the set. Oh, no Flame Scale, and oh right, Crown of Providence is in this. That will be interesting, because if the last set is Arcane, I wonder how much it's gonna go down and come back in purview of the Arcanite Skullcap. The eye, meh. That's what we want. Number 1.5 basically for Australia. You know what, the Albion Constellus might be useful. It's kind of a weird effect from memory. First time it prevents arcane damage each turn. If it has less than 4 energy counters, you may put an energy counter on it. Remove 2 energy counters from it, and the next staff ability you activate costs 3 less. Yeah. God. That doesn't seem as powerful as it needs to be. Most of the screen is a box. This box, you mean? And also a good night. Is it working? I need to open up the stream. Been having horrible issues today. Phone wasn't working first. OBS wasn't working, so I'm using Streamlabs. I have a new mic, so hopefully that's working. I mean, article. Yes. So this should be the majority of the screen. Good. Open it just in case. And then the little top bar is just how I look at cards. I suppose I could probably make that bigger. Usually it's like the right size, right? When I scroll down and I look at the pricing. Could also just put a banner there. You know, it might look okay underneath. I don't know that's where chat is. Anyway, let's just crack packs. As much as paper is fun, the gloss coating is very, very annoying because they just do not stay still. Okay. Look at me fly. So yeah, aside from the cornet, this might have use if the next set is arcane, or even if the set after it's arcane. Draconic as a whole is kind of redundant at this point, right? Is there any decent generics? Blank Spirit, meh. Dust Up. Might as well still separate the foils. So it's just 2 in the middle, and then everything else is junk. Did I forget the rares? Do I even care about the rares? I don't care about the rares. We want the 1L and the M. That's basically it. Alright. Nada. Kinda nada. I wonder how they would have done if they were like the pigments in the M slot. Across the board. Foil. Nada. Oh, I went way too far. Private reflexes. Normal ninja. A blue 3 block. If it was 0 cost, I'd like it more. Take the tempo. If you hit with 3 more times common change, manage the top card of your deck. If it's an attack active card, you may play it until the end of your next turn. Same thing, if it was 0 or less damage to stat it better. Obviously to be 0 and less damage is what I mean. That'd be cool, but I'm assuming it sees play in very aggro ninja builds. Just a blanket, play this, get 1 more card. They're all basically just draw effect. Another evoke. It's an Aether Hail. What's the board? What's the highest M? That's the question. Probably still the dragons. Vipox, another one I really like. For Benji. Benji needs an adult. So much shenanigans to be had. Blaze Headlong. One of the best commons, right? It's just gonna dissipate, unfortunately. Also move the mic closer. Always bad to do. People like the crinkles. Just pick up. More or less. Alright. Transmogrify into a Conduit Frostburn. How am I meant to keep my hand? Here. Wait, that's where the light is. Beautiful cards, all the elemental stuff. But we hope Frostbite doesn't come back in its old iteration. I like this sort of mechanic, right? So the idea would be to freeze something, then destroy it. That's kind of cool, you know, shattering, rather than just you can't do anything for your turn. Combustion point. Meh. Another ice. Got it. Ah, cold pause at the back. That's something I need to remember. Ugh. Okay. I doubt we've got another one, but I guess I have to check. Not that many cards either. So I do have to go all the way to the back. Constant switch up is so fun. I'm glad we're at a state where we have the expansion slot and just consistency where everything is placed. But yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything else. The Silken Form, no Dromai, no use, no care. It's the basic gist. Move things over a little bit. Better? Yeah, that's better with the lighting. Okay, so go through the whole pack. Nada, time flippers, tide flippers. God, this got power creeps. Well, I mean, the Arcade Barrier is kind of nice, but destroy this target action with 2 or less. Gains go again. There's the Fleetfoot Sandals, which is 1 or less, go again. And then obviously all the Mystic stuff, just to blanket, go again. Sigil for a foil. And nothing on the back. So much filler. I'm curious if Uprising will take as long to cycle around as Tails. And what always gets me is there is a very simple thing for them to do, right? It doesn't need a whole new set. They could literally just look at the catalog of cards, look at the heroes, and tweak them slightly. And all of a sudden, Tails could be desirable again, useful again. Same with this, right? Singular hero is all they have to print. But oh well. I know, obviously, with Tails and Elemental, that's a bit of a different story, but Draconic. I'm sure they could come up with a healthy spin on Dromai. Retribution, that's gonna look nice, yeah. At the back, nada. Not getting a lot of M's, I gotta say. We've been like 3? Nope. Not an M Dragon. And nada at the back. Halfway. I guess that's kind of confusing. I always go way too far. You get a proper feel. Rewind. You get a target non-attack action card and return it to its owner hand. Then that hero gains 1 action point. I hope this is never a state we get to with counter spells and all that for every other class. Like, interplay against Wizard or among Wizards, sure. But just Wizard being, I'm going to play on your turn and I'm also going to stop you doing anything on your turn is not a state I think would ever be healthy for the game. I think that's when we enter, this is no longer, just fab territory. By and large, both Wizard and Illusionist, are kind of outside the norm, for better or worse. So I'm very curious what they do with the Arcane set coming up. And it could also be the point where it's time to care a little bit less. Unfortunately. Nada. Look at that, adult tokens. No necessary need to have them as Majestics and hard to pull, and both way down the Majestic pool. Dragon card. Younger am I? I am also very curious how long it will. Oh, god damn it! Well, that's not what we want to see. Worst L in the set. Pretty horrible effect in terms of fun and enjoyment for the opposite party. But yeah, that's unfortunate. Hopefully we still get another L. We wanted Tiger Stripe though. It is obviously wonderful to get a cold foil legendary. We'll own up to that, but still. Okay. See, okay, so this is another sort of like, what happens? What happens if they print Frost? Do cards like this, do they go in a whole new direction, or is this just the... Because it's blanket, right? It's not Ice Wizard, it's not anything specific, it's just Ice. So, yeah. What I was trying to say before is, I'm curious if they will ever concede and either do rotation, do blocks, do something. Because the simple fact is the game is kind of unsustainable in their current trajectory. Unless new classes were added constantly, right? Every time they add to the card pools, it's building upon everything that already exists. Which means you're either power creep or you ban, you restrict, right? And I really think they do a wonderful job trying not to power creep the game. Then that kind of means you want a way to get this stuff out so you can have a different direction. Because you could have a different direction, and then players just going to go back to the better direction. Yeah, all's in where I ain't God. Yeah. Curious about that, right? Because obviously it's Icelander, it's not like a generic equipment piece, which is kind of funny, because if you think about it, any equipment piece that is generic or, broader has more unspecific art, would be the way to phrase it. At least from my recollection. I mean, obviously, feet and hand are hard to tell who exactly it is. But yeah, in Oldham, wasn't it just an absolute nightmare for a lot of people? Frost X. I do like Frost X and the concept of Frost X. Dampen, prevent the next X Arcane. See, there was a lot of weird wizard interplay in this set as well. It makes me think that they've been working on an Arcane set for ages, and it's just required constant tweaking. Now, Fog Down. I'm curious about this card because I really like the mechanic of this, but I don't think it sees any use whatsoever. Right, so no attack action cards lose and can't gain go again for a whole turn. It's very similar to the Warmongers in some extent, right? Because the majority of non-attack action cards need go again. The 3 cost is probably where it really gets shit on, right? Bellowing and no cold foil. Alright, so first box in, we got the legendary, or a legendary. It's not quite the legendary we really want, but it's still a cold foil legendary nonetheless. That is good. I'd be more than happy with a rainbow foil Tiger Stripe Shuko. Any Shuko. We'll see. On the box. Need better positions. Somewhere where my hand can free. Alright. In case we're hitting everything ice apparently. Oasis Respite, foil, that is not where they go. Actually, I should probably be taking the Oasis out. Right? They're probably worth something as commons. Since they do see play. At least the foils. Maybe. What's the red sitting at? Yeah, $1. $1 for the foil. Better than nothing. And nothing at the back. Alright. God. All the illusionist equipment is always so fanciful. Cold foil or not, it's just gorgeous. Nada nada. Rapid reflex. And no cold foil. Old snap. Here goes a pack. No cold foil. My desk is too cramped. Basically, I haven't been doing anything with the cards that we've opened every other time, and that is becoming a bit of a problem. I'm also kind of out of storage boxes for them. God, another M ice card. Rise from Ashes. And even these, right? So a lot of them, again, aren't Ice Wizard, despite Icelander being the one in the set. So the problem with Bog Down and Enigma is all the Mystic auras are instant speed. But in the case of everything else, yes. Yes, it would. Would be a nice tech card. I think the 3 cost still kind of bad. Where were the stilettos? You know, I can look up the stilettos. It will just want feet, huh? They want heels and everything. It looks so... I don't know, I just like the whole, you know, when you step and it leaves a whole trail of fire or image or whatever this were. They were silent, yeah? Silent stilettos. Yeah, just that whole concept. Oh, because she's wearing tights. That's why people were pissed off. Eh. Fan service in Fab is, I think, is done nicely. Whoever really cares about that. No cold foil. I think Bog Down could be a sleeper hit though, right? Because yeah, it does have some uses with Enigma, but if we go into an Arcane set, that's where we usually see a lot of non-attack action cards being high use. But I still think the 3 cost is where it doesn't really work. Cool. Did that just lag? How these packs ordered has a standard change since then. I noticed that the Majestics are not near. Yes. Yes. So up until Bright Lights, we'll call it a free-for-all, right, where stuff was. So, you know, it's always kind of been token, then the cards, right? But weirdly, then you had supplemental sets like Dynasty and Everfest, so no token. So at the back and now here, for whatever reason, it's at the start. I don't understand this change at all, right? So it's 1, 2, 3 commons, equipment, then your rares and Majestic, right? And then the foil, and then everything else, and then 2 tokens. It was the weirdest change. So the majority of sets before this, everything was at the back. And then the call for replacing tokens versus replacing equipment versus replacing more token in this is also another kind of confusing aspect. But thank God we're at a stable point. You just have the expense slot. I don't think though, because there's a difference between an action and an action card. If that interaction does work, yeah, that makes it insane. I mean, Warmonger still sort of works. Because then being a weapon is the card typing, right? Whereas if you, well, do we get a weapon of any sort for me to look at this? No. Well, equipment, for instance, right? So same with weapons. It's not an action, it's not a non-attack action card, it's a weapon card with an action, right? And that could be the point of contention. A dragon, another ice bolts, no cold foil. Yeah, Professor. That would be my understanding of the ruling too. So it does shut down the normal auras, but actually, there's quite a lot of normal auras that don't actually have go again, so it doesn't really matter, because the whole Mystic shtick is there's ways to play them at instant speed, or they're just the last thing you do to set up. But I don't think there's actually enough targets for it in Enigma. Because they don't have, you know, your next... I think actually there was some auras have go again, but there was a few cards that were your next aura maybe played at instant. Alright, Liquefy, another not so great. Oh, good. 2 of them, just what we wanted. So it goes there anyway. Yeah, Liquefy is a fun concept. I'm sure we'll get to the point where equipment destruction is a more prevalent thing. Yeah, so I'm looking for a Tiger Stripe Shuko for Zed. Even though it's kind of debatable whether you want that or Tearing, because Tearing feeds into Crouching Tigers, and you can also have Battle War instead of Blade Break, so you actually still block with it and use the effect. But I have a lot of boxes lying around, and as the set design and their way of thinking continues to get more and more outlined, I, in all honesty, have no care whatsoever for sealed product. I don't think it will be a super collectible thing in the longevity of Fab. Fab in itself is just a peculiar case because it's not built on anything. So MTG is obviously an outlier. MTG has just a massive fan base because it's so old. But, you know, One Piece, Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, Digimon, all those games have a core fundamental basis of, you know, this fan base and this anime and this cartoon and this manga and so forth and so on. So Fab will never have brand recognition to the same extent. So then what does sets really have, right? Well, they have cards and what they relate to. Tails has taken three years to get touched upon, 2 years. It's ridiculously long, right? It's longer than their development cycle for Heroes, even. And then draftability. Everything up until Bright Lights and that has shit draftability, so I don't think nostalgia play is going to be a big thing either. So yeah, my personal opinion is if it's not the first 3 sets, and even they're sort of questionable, I just crack it at this point. Potentially. I mean, I could be completely wrong, right? But again, I'd go back and Fab has, well, sorry, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has an ongoing cartoon that spawns, you know, people to collect the cards. Fab has nothing. Fab has word of mouth and design. So, if you take out all the heavy reprints and whatnot and the alternative versions, from my understanding, right? So Yu-Gi-Oh! Definitely has big chase products. More so for Age. The initial sets all use the same sort of model as Fab as well, right? They had unlimited and first edition printings, no? And the first edition maintained value. But I would also, again, argue that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a lot of nostalgia behind it, right? Here's the thing. With Welcome to Wraith and all that, you have the history products for all the newer markets. You'll have this archive product for the Japanese market. You'll have whatever new product they decide to invent for any future market. So in terms of people, A, having access or B, wanting access to Welcome to Wraith, Arcane, Crucible of War, it's just not as concrete as, you know, well, Yu-Gi-Oh! Just did their 25th anniversary, which were the first few sets reprinted, and you could still, you know, get, you know, I forget the set names because I'm not that big into Yu-Gi-Oh! But you have, you know, the first set with Dark Magician, the first set with Blue Eyes White Dragon, the first set with Black Luster Soldier, right? All these really iconic cards that again reinforce, thanks to the anime, that people will always sort of want and have a place in their heart. You know, Tunic, probably the most recognizable card, and it's just a Tunic. I don't think it has any real impactful value other than the fact that it's just super playable in so many classes. And again, to get said Tunic, it's not, I want to open a Tunic, because that's kind of impossible. It's, I want to just go buy a Tunic. Odds cards will be worthless if they're not played. Yeah. Like the majority of this set, unfortunately. Right? Once Fae goes, it's just sits on a shelf collecting dust until, again, LSS decides to do something with it. And, I mean, we just got a KO Armory deck. Could have easily been a Briar, Oldhim, or Lexi deck with a retool, with something that works a little bit better, with the lack of double elements, because that's one of the biggest things that gave a lot of power to the Tails heroes. And all of a sudden, you know, a third of the set is now activated again, and so forth and so on. Fab has horrible sustain, and a lot of that, in my honest opinion, stems from the fact that they don't want to rotate anything out. So they have to be super cautious when it comes to what they're printing. Following, not being a great box, I gotta say. No. And that's probably why they changed the Living Legend points again. If KO LL'd, that product would have absolutely no use. My favorite set is actually, yeah, same. I would agree with you. I love the thematics of Outsiders. And I love, not that it's workable yet, but I love Bloodrot, Inertia, and Frailty as a concept. So I love Outsiders too. As well as, you know, Click Knives and being able to throw stuff. That's really cool to me. Just not as good as it could be yet. Flamescale Furnace. It's crazy as long as there's a Draconic. Vagos. The price will tank, because while yes, you want it for Emperor, it's just Blitz isn't a thing. And Blitz, oh god, you're gonna start me on a whole other spiel. Anyway, Cold War Stilettos. So again, god, I just think the fire and everything coming off is gorgeous. So Blitz, big issue with Blitz. They halved the health, but they didn't retool anything else. So again, that's where we're at in terms of OTKs and first turn kills and everything, you know, really fast pace Blitz games. If they, for instance, did a slight little tweak, and along with HP, they reduced the cards, right? So instead of having access to 4, you have access to 3. That would have made Blitz more in line with Classic Constructed. If it was more in line with Classic Constructed and not the meme format that it is now, then they could have incentivized and popularized it in a tournament setting. If they did that, then they'd have these 3 conditions for cards and their value, right? Living Legend, failure, oh god, I can't say. Sorry, Alzanars always get my tongue. Failure, in my eyes, right? Because its whole idea was this second life for cards. It's not, because again, it's not heavily incentivized, it's not heavily popularized. Blitz, same thing. So, yeah. Unfortunately, all cards rely on Classic Constructed, regardless of what use they see in other formats for pricing. Okay. They're just really cool on hits. Yes, yeah, definitely. In Outsiders. After some time, for an example, Command & Conquer is not played anymore, the price will fall fail to sense. But if Fab ends up becoming huge, people start collecting the old power cards like you. No. I don't think so. In the case of like Tunic, because it's iconic, in the case of Command & Conquer, I don't think there is such an epitome of, you know, Power 9 or these old iconic cards in Flesh and Blood. There will be for some people, but God, the sustain of cards in Flesh and Blood is very, very volatile, right? So you don't have people, again, who grew up with this iconic card, right? We see CNC, but it's not iconic. The effect is iconic, So I don't think CNC will ever have that type of value. If again it does get power crept, I don't think it will ever be power crept. But yeah, again, it goes back to the whole brand recognition and how cards are remembered and iconic. And I don't think CNC or Inline Strike or Art of War or Tome or Tome is a good example. Tome was such a impactful, powerful card, right? That has just dwindled and dwindled and dwindled. Semblance. Let's say play. Negate all Phantasm triggered effects on target illusion attack you control. The attack loses and can't gain Phantasm. Cost is too heavy for it, isn't it? I feel like if somehow they make Ben Conquer bad in the future, I don't think any new players will even look back. Yeah, so I do agree with that, Matthew. It's like right now, no current players. Do you think anyone in Japan cares about Tales of Aria, right? Heck, do you think they even care about Arcane Rising, Welcome to Wraith, or Klloo? The whole idea of rather than reprinting the product in that language variant, which they're completely right to do, they could reprint it in its unlimited version with just rainbow foils in Japanese, and that would be completely fine. But they're not going to sit there and care about the product as a whole. They're only going to care about the stable cards. And if the stable cards change, then they're not going to care about them anymore. Alright, last 2 packs, and then half the cake's done. A cornet and stilettos so far. Actually, no, we got 2 gold foils in the last one. That's actually kind of nice. Robe. No gold foil. What is really good is the Oldham's crown. Oh, God. You want me to show it, don't you? I'm sure, you know what, I bet you I could find someone's art. Oldham. That's fan art. Let's see what we can find. My favorite card. Ooh. It would have to be Final Act, right? So Final Act as a concept is something we're getting in the latest set. And it's the first true combo, I want to say, of Fab. And I love combos, right? So in MTG, back when I played, I would play Storm decks, right? Which are, combo heavy decks. I never really touched Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! But again, I'd lean towards combo with my Newt experience of those cards I do, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Is very combo-y. So I do have a very big heart for combo. Not that I think combo should be a huge thing in Fab, but I think Final Act was perfect, right? It's achievable, but it's hard to pull off. The Mystic shenanigans are surprisingly a lot easier. So that's a bit unfortunate, right? Because again, all 3 of them seem to be very combo-y heroes. And if those lines are the main lines they play, it could be interesting. And again, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing for the overall game. But yeah, I'd say Final Act as my favorite card. A friend from the LGS got 2nd place. They had decided with the other finalists to sell the gold foil, done justice before the match, and split the money. Oh, that's nice. Stuff like that is fantastic on Alice's part. That's where, again, they sort of get out of the shadow of a lot of TCGs, right? I know other TCGs have prize cards, but again, the gold foil system and all that has always been fantastic to me. And creating wealth out of nothing to reward people who do participate in the community is fantastic. So that should never be undersold. How much do you think they sold the gold foil Balance Justice for? God, it is a $100 and something card, so I'm gonna say $1,200-ish would be my guess. Because usually gold foils are about 10 times. Although I don't know about the newer ones, because I think they're a lot more common, are they not? Breaking Point, nada, no cold foil. 10k, wow, really? Well, if someone wants to pay that, go nuts. On the spot. That's pretty insane. Another rewind. They go the other way. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, right? They made a lot of cards into gold foils, right? So I'm guessing Balance of Justice is still kind of hard to come by. It would just be all the cooling events. But then it's still not set, right? If Balance of Justice is the cooling event. But that's amazing, right? You get the event, and then technically, you know, there is that prize money that will just help continue to grow. And that's something they could easily inject into Blitz and Living Legend. The only problem with that, right, to whoever bought it, is while Fab can have these ridiculous cards, continuing to move them will always be the nightmare. So this year has art cards are the thing to compare it to, right? Again, Fab wanted them to be this insane chase card, and no one cares, right? I mean, I remember everyone saying how expensive they'd be, and it's just... They wanted them to be expensive, they needed more volume of them to actually have that word of mouth, have that knowledge within the community that these exist, these are obtainable. Having the 20, right, 10 chain, 10 prism, just means that only, you know, those who really want to get them can get them. And yeah, end up what, a couple grand each? In Flame, I forgot Extended Arts were in Uprising. I always love all the secret stuff. I wish they'd do more of it, but it's getting back to concisement, right? Extended Arts get kept for all the precon decks, Rainbow Foil Heroes get kept for the promos, Cold Foil Heroes get kept for more promos, and so forth and so on. So they invented gold packs. I'm curious how much the guy who opened the first Marvel Enigma is going to get. Come on, we just want one more L. I know we already got one in the case, but a Rainbow Foil L. 1 in 4. Are they independent? I can't remember if they're independent. Killing Bomb into... It's not what I want. Not what I want. Yeah, and he would be flooded with DMs. Plus, Italy, it's horrible condition. Look at that. Look at that. Just giant ass streak down the middle. Well, not the middle, but the middle here, right? So apparently we just have to mention a Marvel and we get a Marvel. But yeah, that streak is just undesirable. Oh well. So it's a Marvel Icelander. So we got her and her crown. Cold Foil 2. So despite my bitching, this is a sensational case. Alright. 1-2 combo. If only this was way back when. If only I opened this when I first bought it. That would be the better way of summing it up. Ugh. Oh well. Leave it there. We might as well look at the price too. Sadly, I don't think she's like the Emperor, right? nowhere near as rare. I mean, that's not bad. Yeah, it hasn't fallen as much as you might think. Way back then, at launch, it's probably like a $200 card. I don't know if we can go back that far. But she did really well, play-wise as well, I'm pretty sure. But again, you have this whole detriment of it being young, right? Young not being as desirable. But I'm pretty sure this was the big chase. I think it is at very least rarer than the dragons, if memory serves. And the dragons took a while to sort of pick up. Because they've had a decent value to them. But then once Dromai started really getting strong, and everyone wants to bling out their deck. I don't want to put a card over her, so take the tempo and go behind her. We still want one more Rainbow Foil L. But that and the cornet would have been easily enough to pay for the case. And probably make something. Stroke. And no gold foil. Into what do we have? I like Sift. Sift should see a lot of boom in Wizard. Although it seems like they're going down this opt route, where opt is their sort of big keyword. Uprising, one below. And no cold foil. We'll speed through these since there's probably nothing else left in this box and get on to the last one. And with the luck we're having, there's got to be a Rainbow Foil Legendary as well, right? I think that's in the middle, is it not? Rather than replacing the token. So, cold foil. The big thing that sells it too, for the Icelander, is the fact that it's alt art, right? Is it the actual... Sorry, I need to check now. Is it the same effect? No, I just saw we had one. Where were you? I believe it is, right? Essence of Ice. Not your turn. Yeah, so it's the same effect, but it is actually alt art. And it's significantly better art. It's almost... In all honesty, it's almost like the adult art. So it's kind of weird that it's still a young hero. These are cards we just went through? No. I already took the foil out, I think. God, no I didn't. There's the foil, no M. Renegade into nothing. Triples, no cold foil. I don't think we got a cold foil in this box yet either. Hypothermia, God, we should count them after, but the number of ice cards we're hitting, as to oppose Dromai and Face Staples, is kind of insane. Never mind, look at that. Into a foil, freezing point, and some more ice shenanigans. Alright, strategic planning. Frostbite token. More ice. And no cold foil. Oh, I forgot to check for an M. It's not. 3 for this box. And then we can hope for an L again. Other burst. No cold foil. I just gotta do this. Yeah. What did I miss? I've been one of these days a rematch of the roll-off. Product of the new sets. Good, what card do you want to open? So, I am buying products. I think I've settled on eight cases. So, 4 for me and my partner to open, right? And then 4 for streaming. I want to open the 12-petal... I can't say it. It is, again, I should probably explain this, right? Because you'll hear it a ton. I do have speech problems, right? I can't, my tongue has limited movement, right? I can't roll it, so I can't do R's and L's or some F sounds, right? So I can't say, yeah, here's a freebie for you all, right? I can't say broccoli. Because my tongue can't shift from the R sound to the L sound. Now, I'm not being racist, I'm not putting on an accent, I literally cannot say broccoli. And if you're not understanding what I'm trying to say the vegetable. But yes, I want to open that, because that for Zen just seems utterly broken. Alright, so no cold foil, but we did get the Marvel, so technically that is the cold foil. That's fine. There's still one more chance for the Shuko. The funny thing is too, with the KO roller, is that is not the first time I've high rolled him. I remember doing shenanigans against Riddlerman, and same thing as well. I just got insanely lucky with my rolls. Tails, see, okay, so Tails being the next set is kind of curious. Because they said Arcane was in the works, not Arcane was coming next, right? So, yeah, it'd be 50-50 to me if it is Tails or Arcane. But if not, I would hope to see Tails by the end of, or by the start of next year, right? One of the first sets. If we don't see Tails, then I'm gonna have to kind of say they don't want Elemental to ever come back, which is a huge blow, because it's a third of Uprising gone, all the Tails gone, a bit of Everfest, right? All these sets take hits. Oh, wait. Haha, I misread that. Yeah, this is the next Tails. I do not see them retouching Draconic. Dromai is a little bit different, because Dromai's, you know, their golden child. Illusionist is their golden child, or James's golden child, right? I'm pretty sure that's cut and dry. No one would argue with that. So, I could see them retouching on Dromai. I think the Ash in the expansion slot was just an accident, right? They didn't expect Dromai to have LL'd by now, but she did. But, you know, the development cycle for any one class talent or anything is usually about 2 years, for reference, right? So if you look at all the sets and when things have touched upon, it is at minimum 2 years. It is at maximum 50-something months, right? Which is insane to think about. So I do not see it coming back in a timely manner, unless he wants Dromai. James Golden Child is Wizard, to be honest. What do you think of traits? I think they're cool, but they've been way too strong. Yeah. So James likes to play Kanos, is what you're saying. Seems like he has a big hankering for Prism, though. And again, going back to that whole development cycle, right? Can you guess which hero had the shortest development cycle? Flashy is one of the only few to actually have a reprint for its LL. Alright, we want Shuko. Traits are an interesting concept. Considering that they have not been successful in the purview of again, comparative strength, I would say I dislike traits. I think I'd much rather them just stick to class combo cards or overlapping class cards. But, I mean, at the same time, I'm going to love Mystic, because Mystic is blue, and blue is basically all I do most of the time. Rolling Slippers. It's time to say goodnight to the Icelander. So, that's a cold foil, but we can still hope for a legendary rainbow foil. I don't know, right? Let's go down a different route of thinking. The statue they commissioned, right, was Prism. I would, in all honesty, think that Stravo is the epitome of living legend, right? He is by far, or was, the strongest hero. And, you know, again, at the first major event, it was all Stravos competing for a Prism trophy. A prize is not generating value. In some senses. But yes, Prism, Dromai is very clear that, you know, or new now, there is that angle that they really want. Yeah. See, so Stravo will be memorable. And I think it would have been a lot more iconic if he was the big statue for the first Living Legend. The first Living Legend trophy-esque was a Stravo, the epitome of the format. But I can't remember, were they advertising that the studio could fabricate more for sale? Or was it just a one-off? They just got commissioned because they wanted to show New Zealand some love, and then they wanted it to do something with it, right? As a giveaway. More ice cards. Perfect. Exactly what we want. Yeah, I don't know either. I would just, in all honesty. Again, the number of illusionists we get, and their speed of which they're produced, considering how out of the norm they are, right? Again, if you think developing a new physical class, not that hard. Developing a class that requires board states, that requires, you know, all this extra thought and interaction, compared to developing, you know, Betsy, developing Victor, developing Olympia. I would heavily argue that the mental thought that needs to go into illusionists is more, yet we're getting them back to back to back, almost. Again, in by far the shortest time frame of any class development. Brody's card was a generic, no? And that was a fun concept. So we got First Dragon, double-sided. This is a normal one, though. I don't think they hold value like the Figments, or will hold value like the Figments. We'll see. It could just be a new trio of 3 female wizards then, for the Arc set. But, oh, god damn it. Why'd you have to mention wizard? I wanted Tiger Stripe. So, okay, for reference, this case has had a cold foil in every box, a Marvel, a cold foil legendary, and a legendary rainbow foil. So this is probably one of the best uprising cases you could possibly ask for, but I don't want any of the cards. Yeah, this could definitely be fantastic for the next set. Oh well. Yeah, for anyone, I'm pretty sure it's had 4 cold foils, right? Rolling Slippers, Icelander, the Peak. Then we also got Stilettos. Might have only been 3 in Silken form. Yeah, okay. So legendary. 3 cold foils. Plus then a cold foil legendary. Unfortunately ice. And then a Marvel Icelander with a Good old gash down the side, if I can get in the light. We see it. Oh, wait, yeah. There we are. Can you sort of see the line? There we go, the streak. Right over there. It goes top to bottom. Hey, Dromeda. You love a good wizard. I'm starting to get down the rabbit hole of wizard. So the question is, do they make good weapons because of it, or do they not make good weapons because of it? That all you got against then could actually be kind of interesting. Although, no, yeah, that all you got against then is definitely going to be interesting. What have I missed? Illusion's technically a wizard, yes, technically. In the sense that, again, both of them play outside the norm. What do you think of Blaze? I'd love to play a wizard that isn't Kano. God. Blaze, I think, yeah, is fantastic design versus Kano, right? Because it's the same sort of concepts, but with a proper imposed restriction. Plus, then, yeah, the ability to not just run wizard non-attack or non-attack actions in general, so that you can just spam Kano every single turn. I think it's the one-dimensionality of Kano that sort of puts me off him. It's just spam your ability, spam your ability, spam your ability. At least this would be take normal lines, start building up your ability, and then have that big payoff moment. I mean, we could get lucky. There could be 2 legendaries in this box, but unfortunately, I'm guessing there's no Tiger Stripe for us. Wait, I could trade the Icelander marbles into one, I suppose, into the Rainbow Pearl. I think is the conversion rate at the moment. People who want to solve map problems will be disappointed if they release a dumbed down wizard. I'm actually hoping it's just a wizard set. I know people want Runeblade. They sort of forget that Runeblade still has a very sizable card pool, thanks to the talented sets that have featured him. So I would personally really like to just see a straight wizard set, because I think there's lots of room for them to develop the class and its motifs and design aspects and different playstyles. I also find it funny, if you didn't know, Assassin is almost still the lowest card pool out of every class. So thanks to Mistveil, they have overtaken Wizard, but I think there's still like a 10 or 15 card difference between the two. Yes, I know I should be happy. Right? No, I should be happy. But we came in this looking for a single goddamn card. And we get all this junk. Whatever. Do you think Klloo will find a place in the competitive meta? No. Klloo is very just dependent on what everyone else runs. And that probably makes it too weak, too slow, too inconsistent. The nice thing is, though, you can sort of just take her as this punishment, right? Where she does contract, she does stealth a lot better than either two heroes, despite, their own benefits and buffs to stealth and contract. Onuzari's stealth is basically just ninja, and then Arachne contract is just a way to hit more often, but then you get silver for hitting more often, and is that actually that beneficial? So no. So I think new is kind of just better. Either of them, right? You have access to go against. You have access to string stuff together. Her initial concept, I don't know if she will see that form of play, right? Again, you know, trying to hit all these blues, banish them, and then play them. I think Gorgon's Gaze and just running a normal contract sort of build, where you're just trying to fatigue your opponent, mill their deck, mill their hand, is strong enough. I think she's probably the weakest out of the three. But yeah, I think her natural ability is just too inconsistent. As fun as it is. I kind of wish it was almost you may play any banished card, but you did have to pay their costs, rather than you may play any blue card. Plus then you also have the benefit of her disabling blues to some extent, right? You can't take powerful blues, you can only take weak pitchable blues in her matchups. Fear of, you know, them being used against you. Alright, apparently I dropped a pack before, so there's one left. Oh, legendary? Another legendary? The dragons do look sick. Dun 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 dun. Foil. Nah. Oh, foil. See? I just call these things. So, yeah, that means we did get all 4 cold foils. We got 2 marvels, we got 2 legendaries. We hit everything you could possibly hit in this box, in this case. And none of it is anything I really want. Wonderful. Oh well, beggars can't be choosers. Oh yeah, I can sell them. I can choose whatever I want. But yeah, that's got to be one of the best uprising cases, right? Double marvel into 4 cold foils, right? So all the normal box cold foil rate into a cornet for a legendary cold foil, into the Constellus for rainbow legendary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And still on rate for Majestics, right? Roughly 24. So 6 a, 6 a box. Alright. One hand, obviously. Great pulls. Glad I opened it. Other hand, I'd trade it all just for a rainbow foil. Fugo. No worries, Matthew. Thanks for chilling for a bit. Yeah, always a pleasure talking to everyone. Time to theory craft some janky new, not new, Enigma shenanigans. So if you don't know, just a little plug. We do have Zen being able to pull off 1,000+ damage. So I'm curious what each of the 3 heroes, what their maximum damage output is in shenanigans. People blank snagged counter new, and they just realize that it's a good card and not only new. Really? I do always find weird stuff like that. So playing Melody, I had to run weird other stally cards, and yeah, snag. I always thought snag was good. So tricky. Trying to get the cake's worth in 2 boxes. Even without the rainbow foils, doesn't quite fit. Need to buy more storage boxes. Other. Okay. We go that, and that. Alright, we might as well look at the Zen first, for anyone who's interested. So Zen, max damage. All you need is 3 Transcend cards, it turns out. Which is fine, because the first time I did it, I was using Preserved Tradition to get another cash-in, which was just so redundant. But yeah, so this hits for 693 damage, just this line. You add in like Stubby Hammers and a turn of setup, and you can push it over 1,000 damage. So yeah, you know, 10% of that is all you kind of need. Which would be Art of War Raw Sacred would get you 3 Tigers, -1, 2 Tigers. All doing 3 damage, so that's probably not enough. You'd probably need at least 2 Art of Wars, 2 Raws to be able to KO off the Tigers, or at least get close, where Tiger Swipe sort of gets over. But you definitely throw other stuff into the mix, just to make it significantly easier. So I'm going to very much enjoy Combo Zen. But with that in mind, we wanna look at Enigma's max damage. So we did mention it at the start, but 3 visits into 3 visits is easier to cheat out, right? So using Crown of Reflection, and this works with 10,000 Year as well. I think 10,000 Year might make Crown of Reflection kind of viable. One, it has Arcane Barrier if we're going into an Arcane set. But then the fact that if you get 10,000 Year out, it is a blanket, put any aura you want with Crown of Reflection into play. But destroy Crown of Reflection, destroy target illusionist aura you control. If you do, you may put another illusionist aura from your hand into the arena with costs less than or equal to the aura destroyed this way. Activate this only during active phase, but that's fine, right? So basically, the gist of the combo would be you put in a 3 visits, you uphold Tradition it, you swing with it, you then crown it away for another 3 visits, and then swing with that 3 visits, all for 6, right? So 3 to put 1 in, +1 for the uphold, +2 for the 2 swings, meaning that from just one hand, right, 2, 3 visits and 2 blues, you can play the entire combo. Now that in itself is already doing 12 damage, so depending on what else you can feed into it, in terms of draw, and just pitching and cycling, you'd then be able to get, you know, 6 times however pitch, which just makes it a stronger final act. It's definitely a very workable combo for Blitz. Class constructed, it has actually potential, right? You just save the 3 visits, you cycle this around, you play normal Enigma stuff, you have a lot more stall potential than Melody, thanks to Ward and everything like that. Crown of Reflection doesn't get disrupted, Uphold Tradition doesn't as well because it stays face down until you use it, so they can't be popped. Overall, it'll be quite interesting and fun to make work. But yeah, what can we put in there to buff up the pitches and make it more alliance? I was also kind of thinking the Kimono, but I just like the Kimono. If we had access to New Moon, I think Kimono would be fantastic. The fact that you can use your ability to flip it and then get the benefits off it. But with the Ward one, I think it gets destroyed too easily for you to reap its benefit. So yeah. Alright, cash in. We have to pay 4, so the first one is negative, but then you can play the other 2 for 1 card of pitch. So that'd be an extra 4 cards. Then we need a +1. So then that's where Mage Master and Tome come into play. Because if you have the 2 resources floating, that can be a +1. So Tenant, fantastic for this reason. It'd be pay 6 or 2 She, float 2 into Tome and Mage Master. So that is a +1. That is a -1. This is a pitch 4. This would be a pitch 2, so that's 6. Plus then the 3 visits, so that'd be 8. So right now, our damage is 6 by 8, or 48. It is kind of hard to land, though, because of the cheat cards. But in the long run of a game, it'd actually be easier, because unlike Zen, you don't have to transcend them on your turn, because you're not trying to get the value out of the chess piece. So, for instance, this hand is just awful, right? I can't do anything with it. I could put 3 visits into play, but that doesn't really help me. I mean, your best bet would probably be that into cash in off the homage, but then we lose the card to transcend. So we need to sort of work more blues into it as well, right? So right now, the best I could do is, again, play out the combo off of the cards that I have here, which would be 3 visits, pitch a blue, pass, Uphold tradition, pitch a blue, pass, put the counter on it, swing with it, pass, do 12, 10. Yeah, 1 plus 9, sorry, 10. Pass, then crown, put in the other 3 visits, and swing with that. Right? And it doesn't break the chain, which is also kind of nice. So yeah, there's that potential of 6 times your pitch, which again is way stronger than Melody, because Melody at best you do 4 times your pitch, thanks to 2 final acts. So should be theoretically enough. It's just how you get a healthy amount of cards in your pitch to do this. I mean, you know, God, in its weakest form, it's still a 6 into a 6, which is not half bad. If you got other stuff in play, right, you can swing with Spectral Shields and all that. So it's a nice little thing to have ready. But we definitely want to try and push it. So we like levels of enlightenment for this reason, right? Pitch 1. If it's blue, then it covers the cost of all 3, and they just cycle, plus they're pressuring damage in themselves. Again, our whole objective is stacking up blue, so getting at least 2 cards, so that you have draw and go again, shouldn't be too difficult, right? 1 comes off of levels, you just need 1 other card. So even if you had that, 2 blues and 3 visits, right? You could put 3 visit in play, that's 1 pitch, and then play levels for the other pitch. First Tenant is kind of bad in this scenario because there's not enough blue cards to hit. If 3 visits was blue, it would be absolutely insane. It kind of makes me think that manifestations might lead to the better damage output. Right, so your damage is basically twice your counters because you get ward from the counters and then you get the counter bonus in itself. So there could be an attempt to replace what we're doing with that, and then you don't have to worry about pitching. Instead, you'd want to use like Astral Etching to give it tokens. So each Astral Etching would be a 1 for 6, which actually kind of seems like bad value. But you'd be free to run more cards as +1s. Right, you could take normal crown. Actually, no, because you still want to cheat manifestations in. Would you want to cheat manifestations in? It's a question. I think the better combo would be manifestations into 3000 Year. But 3000 Year is a bit more balanced because it doesn't have go again. It's not instant, like Mystic Auras. So 10,000 Year just being a, you know, +10 damage off the counters is okay. It's not fantastic. I think 3 visits is probably where the combo is. I don't think there's any way to get 3 visits off, right? That's just too detrimental because each 3 visit is technically -2 to your hand size, right? 1 card to pitch into it, plus then you lose 3 visits in itself. I think this is the right objective. It's just how we pump up the damage. So Aqua Sing Shell is interesting, but again, takes the crown slot. Tome of Ao would definitely be beneficial. I wonder if this sees play in Enigma, because you should have a significantly better chance of protecting it. Not only, plus you'd also have ways to put it into play on your turn, on your opponent's turn. But if you put it in play on your opponent's turn, it's not really a +1. It's just a cycle. And without a combo or big objective to go into, cycle is strong in Flesh and Blood, right? But it's not fantastic. Especially if we are heading towards more fatiguey sort of metagames. If you do this rounds on me, it'd be the similar premise as Cash In. First one is negative, every other one is neutral draw. What we really need is ways to go positive. In terms of cash out, we can still hit Blossom and Uphold, technically, if you were to use this first. But the issue then is you're getting 2 silver, which pays for 1 cash in, which makes it neutral overall with the cash out, and no card pitched. So, kind of worse. Hold the line, burns it past, no. I think this is everything we can actually work with. Yeah. It's just the number of cards that we can draw making it a bit more consistent. And potentially, maybe with the +1s, Crown is better. So, in order to put 2/3 visits into play without Crown of Reflection and use Uphold and Swing, you would need 5 cards, right? 1 each to pitch into 3 visits, and then 1 card to pitch for all the swings and Uphold. That's not bad. That means you only need 1 +1. So Crown of Dominion could work, right? Because now Cash In is a +1. Tenant in conjunction with Tome is also a +1, so that puts us to 6 cards in hand. However, only 2 cards pitched, which is already worse. But now you could silver the Crown, you could silver Blossom, and that would be another 2 cards, so that'd be 4 pitched. And we're at 6 cards in hand, so we could also take 1 more set of a minus. Then you could run the 2 cash-ins. No, because we're running cash out. Cash out's the minus. Well, actually. Talk about math and Gano. This is kind of just as bad. Okay. I should really just write this out and make it easier. Right? Over the Crown, this is a +1. The cash out is a -1. This is neutral, and this is a +1. Using cash out, we can make another +1 to even them out. Well, right now we're at 5, right? We're at 5, which is what we need for 3 visits. We make that a +1 off of the silver we get. You lose 2 pitch, but then you're able to pitch 2 into this and float 2 resources. So then it's what those 2 resources could do. And it's not much, is the actual answer. Let's not take cash out. So again, we're at 6. Playing a cash in would be 5. You can play the other cash in. You could preserve another cash in to play the other one as well. That would be 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, that's a bit better. So it'd be 6 by 8. Draw 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So we want 13 cards. So I can cut you. And Path of World Travel is probably the one to be cut. Actually, there's one dead one, no matter what. Although at 6 cards, you'd probably want to use the Sacred Art instead. Because then you'd also have the Spectral Shield token to swing. So that's a maybe. We'll just put 1 back. Alright, so we'll try that and see how difficult it is. Actually, with the Blossom of Spring, we're not cashing it out. I think we could make the Sacred Art work. But so basically, off the first gold, you definitely go positive in hand. We then have Tome. We don't have 2 Transcend cards to play, but that's fine. We're just focusing on pitch first. To do that, get 2 more cards, stay at 5. Alright, now we can Preserve and Rising. We have to pick first. That's an error, no? No. Path Well Traveled. Can't really be used. Alright, but now we can put 3 visits into play. Cash in. And 3. We get Tenant and Stir. There's a cash in on the bottom, so we do want to Stir. Then Tenant. Another 2 pitch. You can cash in off Path Well Traveled. Yeah, so that's the issue. Where did I screw up? This needs to be a blue. Why is this not a blue? And even then, I'm still short. Didn't we work this out correctly? Felt like we worked this out correctly. But yes, we can do Uphold Tradition. And then Blossom Spring. And then Swing. For a 19, that's not bad. If you got both off, it would only be 37. Yeah. Which is not enough to KO, unfortunately. But we're getting there. Right, 37. Right, because if I'm overpitching for this and overpitching for that, does this become a negative? No, this is not negative. God. This is float 2. Neutral draw. Right? No matter what. As long as you pitch one chain to it, it's float 2, neutral draw. First one's a +1. Tome through cash in or the tenants is a +1. Because you get rid of the floats. That would be a -1, and then that would be a neutral. Right? They get cancelled. And we're at 5 cards. Did I miss counts? 3 visits plus 1 pitch is -2. That's -4. Then 1 card for Uphold and 2 Cosmos. That should work. So where was I? I'm very confused now. Where was I? Oh, let's try that again. Alright, we got the cash in. Pay the gold. We will not preserve it this time. Is this May or you have to? You have to. In which case we want to shuffle before it. Yeah, so we'll do that. God. Because there's only one choice, and now it's doing it automatically. Stir the pot first. Rising Sun, I mean. I guess it depends what we get. I can always put an inch sheet at the bottom, that works. We'll do that. Stir, reserve, it's at the bottom, I don't have to care about it. Need Mage Master. Then Tome. And cash in. Run out of draw though. But we can play both of them now. And do what I was meaning to do. Right? And then you uphold. You pitch. Put a counter on one of them. 2 resources floating, so then you can swing. Do 16. Pass. Swing and do 15. Yeah, so that's what we're going for. We just need a few more ways to extend the draw. So where did I lose the resource in the last 4 cards? There's another cash in, another tenant, another cash in, and 1 blue card. Yeah, so that ratio doesn't make sense. I miscounted the draw. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13. Yeah, I should be at 17 cards. That was the problem. I'll throw in cash outs, because they enable the Transcend, plus we have some stuff we can hit. White Blue Yonder is another okay pick. Make the combo work. I'll throw the Sacred Art in. And that's 17. Alright, let's see how it fares now. Again, cashing off the gold. Now we would cash out. We'd only hit 2 cards though. Then that allows us to play the Transcend cards, which is better. And then also cycle. We can do Homage, Stir. Then hope to draw some more draw. Like Tome. We don't care about cash outs. But unless we draw here, we're screwed. Yeah. Now we can only play 1. And it's only doing 16. I mean, again, a 16 attack is not horrible. In fact, we could have gotten 1 more pitch out of it too. Right, because instead of doing that, we could have done Enigma, pitch that, pass, and then swing, pass, do 2, swing, reserve. So in Blitz, I definitely think this is more than doable as your win condition. Class Constructed, it's a little bit on the iffy side, right? Because we only dealt 21, and barely. And the sequencing. Well, it's not crowning, that's fine. If we manage to get the Sacred Art off, we wouldn't need Uphold Tradition, but the problem is Sacred Art could only be played once you have 1 3 visits in. It doesn't draw or do anything else, that is technically fine. So the end state is definitely 5 cards. Right, no matter what, because we'll still need floating 2 resources to swing, regardless of how we get the counters. But we could have 3 silver, which means we have 1 silver to pitch, and we can make 2 cash-ins positive draw. That's not horrible. Right, so a +1 and a +1. It's a -1. That's a neutral. That's in most cases a +1. Alright, so still we're +2, which is 6, which will allow us to play Sacred Art since that's a -1. The problem is then the other cash in. Haven't pitched for you, have pitched for you. Haven't pitched for you, haven't pitched for you. This is only floating 2 resources and then 1 extra from the silver. Plus then the 1 for the Sacred Art. That would only be pitching 4 cards. And 4 by 6 is only 24. That does not work. We don't need that or that. The pitch 1 becomes pitch 3. Which bumps us up to 6 cards. Then we'd also have to uphold tradition, which is fine, because again, this as 1 plus that is fine. Just the constraint of this has to be used before we cash out. It definitely feels like cash out's the wrong ask. It's almost 12:30. I'm gonna have to think about this for a bit. It just got me curious, right? Because again, Zen can just do such crazy things, but it's more about Tiger Swipe. That's what really enables it. I mean, God, actually no. So being able to do like a 60 damage turn. Well, actually it was 84 technically. An 84 damage turn just through Tiger Swipes and buffing. It's still super insane for Zen. So it's just whether or not the other two have access to something like that. And the strongest combo that I could think up for New was Eradicate. You can still do sizable damage. What did I end up running in this? Alright, I was buffing 1/3 visits with the white blue yonders. Which is equivalent, right? No, it's not, because this would be 5 cards. Plus 1 to swing, so it's actually harder to achieve. There's definitely 2-3 visits. But getting them into play while also pitching enough cards to do a great deal of damage. Probably be my new go-to Blitz. Instead of Melody. Yeah, Tiger Swipe almost never hits, which is a big thing. Again, the concept is fun, right? But, and I think a lot of people miss this too, right? Because I get a lot. Why does this really matter that I can do 1,000 damage? Well, it's not. It's the fact that you can do 84 damage off of just the Tiger, Crouching Tigers, and then potentially do 1,000 damage with the Tiger Swipes. The simple fact that you could take this out, and you could put Break Tide, then be able to play something off the top of your deck, or just literally anything. Doesn't really matter. Any combo is the insanity, right? It doesn't have to be Tiger Swipe. There's a lot more powerful plays, and then through the Tigers you generate, you do enough damage anyway. You get 84, so you don't need as much Tigers or as much buffing as what the combo necessarily requires. And that, all thanks to the 12 pedal. Such an insane card. I don't know what they were thinking. Again, it should have a once per turn effect. I say that every time, but it really should. But yeah, so for instance, instead of taking Tome and Mage Master, you take Breeze Rider, and then you can just Break Tide. Break Tide into whatever you draw. I mean, there's lots of fantastic combo cards that you could run instead of Tiger Swipe. That will probably be run instead of Tiger Swipe. Heck, even just Chase the Tail, right? Insane Tiger turn into a 7. Right. Pounding Gale, though, is going to be the big one for me. Right, because Pounding Gale off the Tigers, then pressures double its damage. It's got the 1 cost, but that doesn't really matter. And then it'd be buffed up by +3. It'd be 9 threatening, 18 damage. Blitz version is kind of more workable, I want to say, right? Because A, you only have to hit 20. But let's see. That should actually be good. That should take about 6 minutes, and then I'm at 12:30. Again, go have lunch. So we'll do Blitz. Change it to Blitz. Still Zen. And update. Guess that didn't save. Update. Thank you. So the combo. You obviously have to remove 1 of everything. But everything else can stay. So as it is currently, right here, we'll give it a go as it is, and then we basically just have to find 23 more cards, which you take all the other Transcend pieces, you take Yellow Predatory Strike, take Pounding Gale. It's going to be nice, I want to say. Oh god. When I was thinking, was there a speed ban on the Blitz? No, because they're not legal yet. All right. So what can we do? This hand is probably the worst hand possible. I'm thinking about it. If you still have the out, you could get rid of a cash out. Yeah, this one's more workable. What do we get? Homage and Rising Sun, so that's perfect. You do that. You pass. Then the Tiger Swipe to the bottom. Generate a resource. You pass. Generate a resource. You can then Sacred Arts. Pass. Generate a resource when you're at 3, right? So I can cash out here. Hit the crown, hit the gloves, hit the 2 daggers. Pass. And then using the 3 resources. Use the silver, since we have 2 extra silver compared to the cash-in. Do 1 more. Hit the Tenant. Now, unfortunately, with the Tenant, we do have to pitch a Predatory. That's less than optimal, but not horrible. Into Raw. I mean, this is probably good enough as is, right? Raw. Pass. Raw. Pass. Predatory. Pass. That's each tiger doing 3, is it? Yeah, 3 by 7, so that's 21 damage you're pressuring. And we low rolled the combo basically. That's not a bad starting point. You know, we just have to make it a bit more consistent. And think about a few things a little bit differently. Again, so the cash-ins means that we need less silver than what we get, which means a bunch of silver can cycle, which means that cash out can be bumped to 2 copies easily. You can also throw in probably the blue predatories are the easier way than yellow. Blue predatory mind state is still fun, especially if you're leading into the combo. The problem is Blitz is just so quick. You really just want all the draw cards, and Ninja has plethora of draw cards. So you could, in essence, also get rid of Crown and use, Mask of Momentum. I don't think I would, but you could. You take Ancestral Empowerment, you take all these cards that you can just throw out there and draw off of. I mean, Tooth and Claw, fantastic. Damage plus draw. Levels. Now, there's not enough combo to run Ancestral Empowerment, though. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So well, technically 11. So far we're at 1/4 of the deck being draw. Plus then the silver to cycle is going to be very impactful then. I was tempted to run wide blue, just as a little bonus. I don't think it's overly necessary. I think it'd be the 2 mind states, since they create Crouching Tigers in hand. That's really beneficial, right? Thanks to Tooth and Claw. They're still blue, so they're pitchable. What other Crouching Tigers do we have access to? Shifting Winds is a good one, just because if you can use the Chi, it's 2 Crouching Tigers. I don't think you necessarily need the name mechanic. Although for Blitz it would allow like 100 Winds to be a lot easier. Plus then also Pounding Gale. We'll do that. I also like Harmony of the Hunt in this type deck, because it hits the Ancestral Empowerment. It also hits some of the other Transcend cards, while also generating a Crouching Tiger in hand. Let's throw these in now. Alright, so that's 7 cards. I think it'd just be the blue 100 wins. Just for a little bit extra damage. And then just Gorgonion's Tome. Let's see how it plays. Yeah, so you'd probably take all the Transcend cards. I don't think you care about the Fabled, because there's just little points. Blitz does not last long enough. So with this hand, you just Mind States, pass, and then stash one of them. Take the first turn damage, pass, get Tiger in hand, that you're then able to probably cash out and start drawing. That also allows us to pitch stack for the levels, which makes it super good. Right. So now you'd pop the gold, you won't really worry about cash in for positive. Just making sure that you can get to the next card. We could play Harmony, yeah, Crouching Tiger. Unfortunately, we need to pitch blue for the levels, so your best bet is actually to pitch it here. In Art of War with the floating resource helps. Banish buff. The Crouching Tiger. Now you'd probably levels. Here are the 100 wins. You've pitched 3, so it's 6 with draw and go again. Into the Ancestral, which is perfect, because that's more cycle. Alright, levels is not a ninja card, that's fine. We Predatory Strike and get the draw off that way. And although we're breaking up the chain link, we should just be able to string together more than enough damage. Another Raw. So, yeah, it'd still probably break the chain. because we haven't hit any of the chi cards, it's just cycle. Another Ancestral. Not as impactful as what we've had going for us. You'd also always just use the Transcend card since you can get the 1 extra resource. Yeah, now cash-in's a bust. Unless we get another Transcend card. If we get another Transcend card, we're fine. But it's Tooth and Claw. What would we have to change? I mean, again, the power for me in Zen comes from the fact that you could just play aggressively, right? Just everything fits with one another. Because that was still a fairly insane turn, even with breaking the chain and everything. We got to get through a fourth of the deck, at least 10 cards at least. Do a sizable amount of damage, which, would have also depleted our opponent's hand. Breaking their equipment early is also nice, so breaking chain might actually have value to it. The important thing is the Ancestral Empowerment or some of these other Transcend cards. We really want to use them to get the resources to make levels not negative draw. And then also to get the Crouching Tigers for the Ancestral Empowerment. Let's just try another one. See how it plays out. Yeah, this is another sort of iffy hand. I feel like the Tiger Swipes really actually make the deck worse. Because again, you're never going to bank on it hitting. It's just a fun card. You'd rather just have more Crouching Tiger stuff. Because again, making like Tooth and Claw actually work is fantastic. Because a 0 for 4 that cycles is just... Sorry, a 0 for 5 that cycles is insane to me. We mainly want to look at the Mystic ones, since they're in hand. It might be just something like a yellow Harmony of the Hunt. I do like Breed Anger. It's in the Banished Zone, unfortunately. Choose one, or Crouching Tiger gets, if this hits, create 2 more. Maul is also kind of interesting to me then. Gives you a +3 to get over block, and then potentially 2 more Tigers to follow up. Yeah, Maul is probably the pick. That sounds insane. Yeah, see, this is kind of a better hand already, right? We can... it's whether or not we want Ancestral Empowerment back earlier, which we kind of probably do. It'd be Stir the Pot and then Rising Sun. That resolve first, hit the Ancestral, and the resource, and this is where the chess piece really just shines, right? Because now Art War's free, and we still have another resource floating. In fact, we can do the Sacred Arts, get the Tiger for the Art War, gain a resource, right? 5 cards in hand. I know 2 of them are Crouching Tigers, but 5 cards in hand, 3 resources floating. That's insane to me. Banish buff, pass, the Crouching Tiger. There's the cash in, go positive again. 6 cards in hands now. Right, we're short on Tigers for the Tooth and Claw though. That's a bit unfortunate. We can get 2 of them, so this is still going to be decent damage. And then we get 100 wins to play. Probably have better cards to hit with the Zen. But even right now, right? I think Chi counts as the Harmonized, no? Actually, I'm curious about this. Does this have go again? No, it doesn't. It has to have 0. So then, right? We could do what? Tooth and Claw, Crouching, Maul. Right, in this scenario, you'd probably want the Crouching Tigers the last. So it would be... Open soft with the 100 wins. Right, 100 wind, 2 damage, 100 wind, 3 damage. Tooth and Claw. Reveal the 2, it gets go again, plus a +1. So, why is it 6? Oh, right, the Art of War. For 6, and then you go Crouching Tiger. You can then maul it. Both. And then another 3 Crouching Tigers. Even if they're only doing 2 damage, that is the follow-up. I mean, again, in a single turn, we've now pressured more than 20, right? We've now pressured 23 damage just off of a random hand, too. No combo, no nothing, just that's what we did. And Zen just has such strong aggressive capabilities, right? We can do this again. So no rune, hold even 1 dagger maybe, but we'll get rid of both. Right, that activates the Transcend card, so we can do Homage, gain a life, gain a resource, use the silver, cycle. In fact, it'd probably be better to cycle one of these two, thinking about it. And keep the chi for cards that want the chi. Ancestral Empowerment, they're not horrible. Do another Predatory. So you could Zen, find a combo, Ancestral, cycle, continue trying to look, or stash and save this as a turn, still try and do a little bit of damage. It definitely needs some work. But I do just think Zen has some fantastic lines to find and figure out. And we can do that then. This is a very low impact turn, obviously. But, You just always have stuff to play. Just finding the right ratios of all the different cards. I do kind of feel, though, Pounding Gale might be the easier thing to try and land, right? Because all you need is 1 Tiger with the shifting. And then Pounding Gale you can find on demand with Zen. And then you just have to buff it enough where... Again, so in Blitz, Pounding Gale is, if this deals 10 damage, it's a KO. So even just Pounding Gale with some Wide Blue Yonders could be enough. Then you also have the potential of the Art of Wars. You could take Ancestral Harmony. If you take a more combo-centric deck, instead of what we're currently doing. And you could take all the Tiger stuff as well. Definitely workable. I will work on it. We're still a little bit out from going live, but I do plan on playing a bunch of all 3. Zen probably the most at the current moment, just both across Blitz and Classic Constructed seems super fun to me. Whether or not we go for the combo or we actually, swap over and try to play proper Zen decks. This seems like a lot of fun. A lot of shenanigans to be had. Enigma, a little bit less. Funny enough, New was my favorite going into it, but... I mean, they're all fantastic heroes. They're all really strong heroes. But I'm gonna leave it there. It is my lunchtime. So anyone hanging around, thank you. Anyone watching post, thanks as well. And everyone who chatted away, always fun talking to people about this lovely game. And yeah, fantastic pulls. Not the pulls I wanted, but I can't complain. Anyway, hope you enjoyed.